Hi all, welcome to Freedom Pilates. My name is Kath and this is Saskia. Today we're going to be looking at a movement mastery series looking at the exercise of side overs. Now when it comes to clinical Pilates exercises, it's like mastering any skill. You really do need to start with the foundations first. And here at Freedom Pilates, we have a very clear system of the way we like to do that. We always start with exercises in a position that makes it easiest for your body to really comprehend and bring awareness to its position. And that generally means we start with a laying down position. As we're building towards something like a side over, it can be really hard to bring awareness to where our body is in space. And one of the most common things that we see is people really bring or lose awareness of their alignment. So they'll often be in a side over position, their neck's poking forward, their ribs are poking out, and they're really overworking through their lower back. To bring awareness to this, we're going to start Saskia laying on her back so she can really tune in to her body position. We'll then thread this through progressively harder exercises, so by the time she gets to her side over, she can really tune into where that position is. So Saskia is going to start with footwork. She's on one red, one green. We're choosing this spring tension because we want it to give enough resistance that she can feel feedback in her body, but not so much that she's really pushing hard that it becomes about really pushing with effort through her legs. She's starting with her heels on the foot bar, feet hip width apart. For Saskia, the headrest down is appropriate because this allows her to bring alignment to her head and neck position. We'll go through this to find the right position for you in a moment. The 3 points I'm going to be asking Saskia to focus on are the centre of the back of her head, the space between the shoulder blades, and the sacrum. Now the sacrum is the triangle bone at the very base of the spine, right basically between the hips and the buttocks. So right now I'm going to ask Saskia just to take a couple of breaths in and out. The breath is a really nice point to start because it really does help us centre on our body. With each breath in, I want Saskia to just find a sense of space in her body. And with each breath out, I want Saskia to find ease, and I really want her feeling the whole back of her body relaxing into the support of the carriage. In this position, gravity combined with the carriage is going to provide great feedback for Saskia to know where those 3 points are connecting with the carriage. So let's start with the point, the back of the head. I want Saskia to start to think, where can she feel connection with the back of her head, with the headrest? And this is where you can start to think, is the headrest in the right position for me? Start to think, am I feeling it right in the centre? Or am I noticing that my eye line's looking a little bit back? Maybe Saskia, you can demonstrate this. If you've got a little bit of a rounded chest, often people are with their chin and their nose pointing back to the wall behind, and you feel more like you're standing on the top of your head rather than the centre. To bring this into alignment so you're standing in the centre of your head, you may need to lift your headrest up. Now we know that Saskia doesn't need to, so she can come back to that centre. It's also an interesting point to start to think, am I actually centred, or do I tend to be a little bit more off to the left or the right? Then start to bring attention to the space between your shoulder blades. Once again, take some nice easy breaths in and out. Use the breath out to really settle into the carriage. Now, a lot of people here tend to be really almost barrel chested. We tend to be popping through our rib cage at the front, and we actually find it quite hard to let the mid-back relax into the support of the carriage. So the first thing I want you to do is imagine that you've got a nice heavy sandbag resting on your breastbone. And with each breath out, I want you to let the weight of that sandbag allow the breastbone to soften a little bit deeper in towards the support of the carriage. If you're still finding that you can sense that the spine between the shoulder blades is still a little bit lifted away from the carriage, try sending your hands up towards the ceiling. For some people, it can help to fold the elbows and come to what I call a genie arm position, almost like you're about to make a wish. Almost feel the sense of trying to pull the elbows a little bit wider apart. Try to see if you can almost allow the shoulder blades to widen a little bit more, create more space between them. And see if you can feel that space, the spine between the shoulder blades soften, connect a little bit more with the carriage there. If that feels right for you, you're welcome to maintain that position through the arms. If you prefer your arms by your side, by all means, go back to that position. Finally, bring attention down to that sacrum, that triangle bone at the base of the spine. Take some nice easy breaths in and out here. You may even find it helpful to just rock back and forth through the pelvis and start to think, do I tend to arch through my back and rest more towards my tailbone? Or do I tend to flatten my lower back and rest more towards the top of my sacrum? Can I find a position where I really am resting relatively centered? And don't overthink this, just bring a gentle awareness to it. Now we've got those 3 points all in alignment, resting on the carriage. I want you to gently press through the heels, send the carriage out long. Take a moment to pause here. I want you to take a moment to think, are those 3 points still in the same position, or have any of them moved? Perhaps you've noticed that you've changed position through the sacrum. Maybe you've arched through the back and you're now resting more towards the tailbone, or perhaps you've done the opposite. Maybe you've popped through the ribs and the space between the shoulder blades is slightly lifted away from the carriage. Or maybe you've moved through your head and you're now looking a little bit further back to the wall behind. Bring attention to your breath and see if you can come back to that point of centre. Then when you're ready, bring the carriage back in. Continue to press the carriage out and in here with a sense of gentle awareness and curiosity. See if you can continue to press the carriage out and in, maintaining this gentle awareness of maintaining those 3 points of contact on the carriage. I want you to notice the most important point here is I'm not asking you to press those 3 points into the carriage. I'm not asking you to effortlessly push them down. I'm just asking you to be aware of allowing them to stay resting in those positions. Those 3 points are the 3 points we're going to maintain awareness through our exercises as we progress through this mastery position. You are welcome to challenge this in different footwork positions. We're going to keep it with just the heels today. As we progress through these, we're going to bring Saskia into more challenging positions where she reduces the feedback from the carriage as she progresses to her side overs. I hope you enjoyed exploring this first position. We'll see you for part 2 in just a moment.